Have you ever been told that sardines are one of the ultimate superfoods for muscle and longevity? They are packed with omega, fatty acids, protein, and micronutrients. But what if I told you that there is another food often overlooked that may be even more powerful when it comes to fighting sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle that robs people of strength, independence, and vitality? Here is the reality. By the time most people reach their S, they have already lost close to % of their muscle mass. Sarcopenia is not just about getting weaker, it is about metabolic decline. Muscle is your body's most important metabolic organ. It stores glucose, it burns fat, it regulates hormones, and it protects your bones and joints. When you lose muscle, you do not just lose strength. You lose your ability to control blood sugar. You lower your metabolic rate, and you accelerate aging from the inside out. Now, here is what is fascinating. The root cause of sarcopenia is not simply aging itself. It is a combination of anabolic resistance, which means your muscles stop responding as strongly to protein and exercise, hormonal shifts like falling testosterone and growth hormone, and chronic inflammation driven by diet and lifestyle. In other words, it is not inevitable. It is a process we can slow down, stop, and even reverse if we know which levers to pull, and this is where nutrition comes in. While sardines are excellent, they are not the only game in town. In fact, there is another food easy to find, widely available, and supported by emerging research that builds muscle, restores metabolic balance, and helps you kill sarcopenia naturally. I am going to reveal that food, and more importantly, the exact physiological reasons why it works. But before we dive in, let me frame what you are going to learn in this talk. We will unpack the science of how muscle actually grows, how insulin and amino acids interact like keys in a lock to turn on muscle building, why certain proteins outperform others, and how timing your intake can change everything. You will also learn about hidden disruptors from poor sleep to liver dysfunction that quietly erode your muscle even if you think you are eating well. By the end of this session, you will have a clear evidence-based protocol you can apply immediately. Whether you are in your S and trying to stay lean, in your S and noticing strength slipping away, or in your S determined to stay independent, the strategies I am about to share can shift your trajectory. So, forget the myth that muscle loss is an unavoidable part of aging. Forget the idea that only sardines or exotic supplements can save you. Today, we are going to explore the food that science shows is a muscle-building powerhouse, and how to integrate it into your daily life to protect your energy, metabolism, and longevity. Here is what most people do not realize. Your muscles are not just there to help you lift weights, climb stairs, or carry groceries. They are the single most powerful metabolic organ in your body. In fact, muscle makes up nearly % of your body weight, and it is constantly working behind the scenes to regulate hormones, blood sugar, and energy balance. When we think of metabolism, many people immediately picture the thyroid gland. But gram for gram, your skeletal muscle is far more important for keeping your metabolism youthful and efficient. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Every time you eat carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into glucose. That glucose has to go somewhere. If it stays in the bloodstream, it spikes blood sugar and triggers insulin. Your muscles are like a sponge that soaks up that glucose and stores it as glycogen. The bigger and healthier your sponge, the better you can handle a bowl of rice, a piece of bread, or even fruit without causing metabolic chaos. But the smaller and weaker your sponge, meaning the less muscle you have, the more likely that sugar gets stored as fat or damages your blood vessels. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your muscle is a large storage warehouse. The larger the warehouse, the easier it is to store incoming deliveries. But if your warehouse shrinks, you cannot store much at all. Packages pile up outside, creating a mess in the street. That mess is what happens in your bloodstream when muscle mass declines. Sugar builds up, insulin levels stay high, and fat begins to accumulate in the liver and around the belly. This is one of the hidden root causes of pre-diabetes, type diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. And here is where sarcopenia becomes so dangerous. Starting in your S, you can lose up to % of muscle mass per year if you are not actively protecting it. By your S, that can mean a loss of 2% of your lean tissue. The consequence is not just weakness, it is slower fat burning, higher risk of obesity, and accelerated cellular aging. Research shows that individuals with higher muscle mass have lower all-cause mortality, live longer, and maintain sharper cognitive function well into older age. The good news is this: you are not powerless. Studies from institutions like the National Institute on Aging show that even people in their S&S can build new muscle if they provide the right stimulus. That stimulus comes in two forms: resistance exercise and targeted nutrition. Resistance training, even simple body weight exercises like squats, push-ups, and step-ups, signals your muscles to adapt. But without the right nutrients, that signal is like flipping a switch when the power is out. You need both the signal and the building blocks to rebuild muscle effectively. This is why the food we are going to reveal shortly matters so much. Unlike generic protein sources, it contains a very specific profile of amino acids that directly trigger the molecular switch inside your muscle known as MR, which stands for Mechanistic Target of Rapami. Think of MORE as the ignition key for muscle protein synthesis. Without turning this key, your muscle cells simply will not grow, no matter how much general protein you eat. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day designed to help you protect your metabolism, preserve energy, and extend your health span naturally. So remember this takeaway: muscle is not optional tissue, it is your metabolic currency. The more of it you preserve, the more resilient, energetic, and youthful you stay. Lose it and your entire metabolic economy begins to collapse. In the next section, I will break down how sarcopenia actually develops, why your body becomes resistant to protein as you age, and what you can do to overcome it. When people hear the word sarcopenia, they often think it is just about aging, that muscle loss is inevitable once you hit your S or S. But that is only part of the story. Sarcopenia is not simply a calendar effect. It is a physiological process driven by very specific changes inside your body, and understanding these changes is the first step to reversing them. Here is what is really going on inside your body. When you are young, your muscles are highly sensitive to protein and exercise. A moderate dose of protein, say a piece of chicken or fish, combined with activity easily flips on the switch for muscle protein synthesis. That is why in your S&S, it feels almost effortless to recover from a workout or gain strength. But as you move into your S and beyond, that sensitivity begins to decline. This is called anabolic resistance. Anabolic resistance means your muscle cells do not respond as strongly to the same nutritional and exercise signals they once did. You might eat a protein-rich meal, but instead of turning that food into new muscle, a large portion of it gets oxidized or converted to energy. In other words, your efficiency drops. To use a simple analogy, it is like trying to light a campfire with damp wood. You can strike the match, but the flame does not catch as easily. Why does this happen? Several root causes contribute. Number 1, hormonal shifts. Testosterone, growth hormone, and estrogen all support muscle maintenance. As these decline with age, the signal for muscle growth weakens. Number 2, chronic inflammation. Research shows that older adults often have elevated levels of inflammatory cytokines like interleukin and tumor necrosis factor alpha. These molecules actually interfere with the pathways that build muscle and accelerate protein breakdown. Number 3, insulin resistance. Remember, insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone. It also plays a role in muscle growth by helping shuttle amino acids into cells. When your muscles become resistant to insulin, they also become resistant to protein. Number 4, reduced physical activity. Many people naturally slow down as they age, but muscles are use it or lose it tissue. Without regular resistance, the signal to maintain and grow weakens. The combination of these factors creates a perfect storm. You lose muscle mass, which lowers your metabolic rate that makes it easier to gain fat. The extra fat, especially visceral fat around the organs, drives even more inflammation and insulin resistance. And this vicious cycle accelerates aging at every level. But here's the empowering truth. Anabolic resistance is not a permanent condition. It is more like a locked door. The right strategies can pick the lock and open it again. For example, research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association shows that older adults who consume higher quality protein, especially sources rich in leucine, can overcome anabolic resistance and restore muscle protein synthesis almost to youthful levels. Add resistance training to that, and the effect multiplies. Another key factor is nutrient timing. Studies from the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences demonstrate that spreading protein intake evenly across meals, rather than loading it all at dinner, maximizes the muscle-building response. That means instead of eating a light breakfast, a moderate lunch, and a heavy protein-rich dinner, you get better results by dividing protein more evenly across your day. Now, some people wonder if supplements like branched-chain amino acids can bypass anabolic resistance. The research shows that while branched-chain amino acids, especially leucine, are important, they work best in the context of complete protein sources. In other words, your body does not just need the spark plug, it also needs the full fuel tank to build new muscle tissue. Here is the takeaway. Sarcopenia is not just getting older. It is the result of anabolic resistance, hormonal changes, inflammation, and lifestyle patterns. And while it can feel discouraging, it is actually a solvable problem when you approach it with science-based strategies. In the next section, we are going to reveal that overlooked food that rivals sardines and may actually outperform them when it comes to stimulating muscle growth and fighting sarcopenia. This food contains the exact amino acid profile your muscles crave. And I will explain how it works step by step. When people think of muscle-building foods, they often think of steak, chicken, or fish like sardines. All of these are valuable, but there is one food often overlooked that science shows may be even more effective at combating sarcopenia, especially as we age. That food is eggs. Now, at first, that might surprise you. Eggs have been controversial for decades. You have probably heard warnings about cholesterol, or that you should only eat the whites and throw away the yolk. But when it comes to muscle health and longevity, eggs are one of the most complete, efficient, and powerful foods you can eat. Let me explain why. Here is what is really going on inside your body when you eat an egg. Protein is made of amino acids, and not all proteins are created equal. Eggs are considered the gold standard of protein quality because they contain the perfect balance of all 9 essential amino acids in the exact ratios your body needs to build new tissue. In fact, the biological value of eggs, a measure of how efficiently protein is used by the body, is out of very few foods come close. The star amino acid in this story is leucine. Leucine acts like the ignition key for muscle protein synthesis by activating a molecular pathway called M. Research from the University of Illinois has shown that a meal with sufficient leucine can literally flip the switch for muscle growth. Even in older adults with anabolic resistance, one large egg contains about half a gram of leucine, and when you combine several eggs in a meal, you reach the threshold needed to trigger muscle building. But here is what most people miss. The power is not just in the whites. The yolk contains critical nutrients that support muscle metabolism, including vitamin D, choline, and phospholipids that enhance cellular repair. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that whole eggs stimulated muscle protein synthesis significantly more than egg whites alone, even when the total protein content was the same. The yolk provides coactors that help the protein in the whites do its job more effectively. Let me use a simple analogy. Imagine you are trying to build a brick wall. The egg whites provide the bricks, the raw protein, but the yolk provides the mortar, the binding agents, vitamins and lipids that allow the bricks to stick together. Without the yolk, you might have the materials, but the wall does not hold. Now, how do you use this knowledge practically? Number 1, aim to include eggs regularly in your diet, especially at breakfast or post-workout when your body is most primed to use amino acids for repair. Number 2, do not fear the yolk. Unless your doctor has given you a very specific restriction, eating whole eggs is safe for most people and provides far more muscle-building benefits than whites alone. Number 3. Combine eggs with other high-quality protein sources to reach the leucine threshold of about and slash to 3 grams per meal. That usually means 2 to 4 whole eggs paired with another protein like Greek yogurt, legumes, or lean meat. Number 4. Use eggs as part of a pattern. One single omelet will not transform your muscle health, but regular consistent intake coupled with resistance training creates a compounding effect over weeks and months. And here is a bonus. Eggs are affordable, widely available, and versatile. You do not need exotic powders or expensive fish oils to fight sarcopenia. A simple carton of eggs can be one of the most powerful tools in your longevity arsenal. If this is resonating with you, take a moment to subscribe. I share content like this every day to help you use food as medicine, protect your metabolism, and live stronger for longer. So, the key message here is this. Forget the myth that sardines are the only muscle food. Eggs, especially whole eggs, are a scientifically proven powerhouse for building muscle, overcoming anabolic resistance, and fighting the age-related decline we call sarcopenia. In the next section, I will break down exactly how amino acids like leucine function inside your cells and how much you need each day to flip that muscle-building switch. Now that we have identified eggs as a powerful food for fighting sarcopenia, we need to go one layer deeper. The real reason eggs and other high-quality proteins work so well comes down to amino acids, and one in particular, leucine. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Protein is not a single substance. It is built from amino acids which are like the letters of an alphabet. Just as different combinations of letters form words with meaning, different amino acid combinations create proteins that perform specific jobs in your body. Out of the amino acids, 9 are essential, meaning your body cannot make them, and you must get them from food. Leucine stands out because it is more than just a building block, it is a signal. When leucine levels rise in your bloodstream after a protein-rich meal, they activate a molecular pathway called MR, which stands for mechanistic target of Rapami. Think of more as the master switch that tells your muscle cells start building, begin repair, grow stronger. Without sufficient leucine, the switch stays off no matter how much general protein you consume. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your muscle is a construction site. The workers, your muscle cells, are waiting to begin building. Protein provides the bricks and materials. The leucine is the foreman who shouts, "Start the project." Without the foreman, the bricks just sit there. With the foreman, the entire crew gets moving and the building rises. Now, here is the catch. As you age and anabolic resistance sets in, your threshold for activating this leucine switch goes up. A younger person might only need a small amount of leucine to spark muscle protein synthesis, but older adults often need a larger dose at one time to overcome the resistance. Research from the University of Texas Medical Branch shows that older adults require about /g of leucine per meal to maximally stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So how do we get there? Let us look at some numbers. One large egg contains about half a gram of leucine. That means 2 eggs will give you about G. To reach the full threshold, you might need 4 to 5 eggs or 2 eggs combined with another high leucine food such as whey protein, Greek yogurt, chicken, or tofu. This is why food combinations matter. For example, an omelet with 3 eggs and a side of Greek yogurt can easily deliver enough leucine to flip the MR switch and stimulate muscle building. Similarly, pairing eggs with a piece of salmon or chicken breast makes the effect even stronger. It is not just the total protein that counts, it is the leucine content and the distribution across your day. Instead of eating a small protein snack at breakfast, a modest portion at lunch, and then loading all your protein at dinner, research shows you get better results when you spread leucine-rich meals evenly. That way, you trigger muscle protein synthesis multiple times across the day, rather than leaving your muscles understimulated for long stretches. Some people ask if they should use leucine supplements or branched-chain amino acid powders. While these can raise blood leucine levels temporarily, studies consistently show that whole food sources are more effective because they provide the full spectrum of amino acids and the coactors needed for muscle repair. Think of leucine as the key, but remember you still need the entire toolbox. Here's the practical takeaway. To fight sarcopenia, aim for at least 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal. Build meals that combine eggs with other leucine-dense foods. For breakfast, that might be scrambled eggs with Greek yogurt. For lunch, perhaps a salad topped with chicken and a boiled egg. For dinner, grilled fish with a vegetable omelette on the side. Simple, practical, and effective. So remember, leucine is the spark plug of muscle growth. Without it, the engine does not start. With it, you can overcome anabolic resistance, rebuild lost tissue, and keep your metabolism youthful. In the next section, we are going to connect this knowledge to timing and exercise. You will learn how resistance, training, and nutrient timing act together like a double amplifier to maximize your results. We have talked about the power of protein and the role of leucine in flipping on the muscle-building switch. But here is a critical truth. Nutrition alone is not enough to fully overcome anabolic resistance. You must combine high-quality protein with resistance exercise. Together, they create a synergy far more powerful than either one alone. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Exercise is not just about burning calories. When you perform resistance movements, squats, push-ups, lifting weights, or even body weight height exercises, you are literally sending a mechanical signal into your muscle fibers. These tiny fibers experience tension and micro damage, which sounds negative, but is actually the trigger for growth. Your body senses the stress and prepares to rebuild stronger. Now imagine this like preparing soil for planting. Exercise is the act of plowing the soil. It makes the ground receptive, breaks it open, and gets it ready to receive nutrients. But without seeds, that plowed soil does not produce crops. That is where protein comes in. The amino acids are the seeds, and leucine is the fertilizer that tells them to grow. Together, plowing plus planting equals harvest. Research confirms this synergy. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that when older adults consumed protein immediately after resistance training, their muscle protein synthesis doubled compared to protein alone without exercise. Another trial from the University of Birmingham in the United Kingdom showed that even a single session of strength training restored protein sensitivity in older muscle for up to hours. That means every workout reopens the window of opportunity for growth. Timing is also critical. The so-called anabolic window refers to the period after exercise when your muscles are most sensitive to nutrients. For years, people thought this window was only minutes. We now know it is wider, closer to 2 hours, but the principle still holds. Eating a leucine-rich meal in that window maximizes your gains. Skipping it means you leave progress on the table. So, how should you apply this? Here is a practical protocol. Number 1. Perform resistance exercise at least 2 to 3 times per week. Focus on compound movements that engage large muscle groups such as squats, lunges, rows, push-ups, or deadlifts. You do not need heavy gym equipment. Body weight and resistance bands can be enough if done consistently. Number 2, within hours after your workout, consume a meal containing at least a g of high-quality protein and / g of leucine. For example, a 3-egg omelet paired with Greek yogurt or grilled chicken with a side of beans and a boiled egg. Number 3, distribute protein evenly throughout the day. Aim for 3 leucine-rich meals rather than 1 large protein load at dinner. This creates 3 distinct spikes of muscle protein synthesis, which adds up to more growth over time. Number 4, pair your training with recovery. Sleep is when much of the repair happens. Without deep sleep, the benefits of your nutrition and exercise are blunted. We will explore this more in the upcoming section. Now, let me make one important point. Many people over the age of say, "I am too old to build muscle." That is simply not true. A landmark study from Tufts University placed old men and women on a simple resistance training program, and within just weeks, they gained strength and muscle mass comparable to people decades younger. Combination of training and protein works at every age. If this message is resonating with you and you are finding value here, subscribe now. I share daily science-based content to help you protect your body, rebuild your metabolism, and live longer, stronger, and healthier. Here's the takeaway. Resistance training prepares the soil, and protein provides the seeds. You need both. Together, they form a metabolic partnership that reverses anabolic resistance, restores muscle, and rewinds aspects of biological aging. In the next section, we will discuss the hidden disruptors that quietly sabotage muscle health, things like poor sleep, liver dysfunction, and inflammation, and what you can do to remove those roadblocks. Up to this point, we have focused on what to add: high-quality protein, loosen eggs, and resistance training. But sometimes the bigger breakthroughs come not from adding more, but from removing what is quietly holding you back. When it comes to muscle health and sarcopenia, there are several hidden disruptors that most people overlook. These disruptors can sabotage your progress even if you are eating well and exercising consistently. First disruptor is poor sleep. Here is what is really going on inside your body. When you miss sleep, muscle repair and growth do not primarily happen in the gym. They happen at night during deep, slow-wave sleep. This is when your body releases growth hormone, one of the most anabolic hormones you produce. Even one night of poor sleep lowers growth hormone and raises cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks down protein. Research from the University of Chicago has shown that sleep deprivation not only increases muscle breakdown, but also reduces your sensitivity to protein the next day. In other words, without sleep, your nutrition and workouts lose half their power. The second disruptor is liver overload. Your liver plays a central role in protein metabolism. It processes amino acids, clears toxins, and manages insulin signaling. If your liver is clogged with fat, a condition known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which affects nearly in 3 adults, then protein metabolism suffers. Studies show that fatty liver impairs the way your body uses amino acids for muscle growth. The result is more anabolic resistance. Supporting liver health by reducing added sugars, limiting alcohol, and eating liver-friendly foods like leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables is essential if you want to keep muscle strong. The third disruptor is chronic inflammation. Low-grade inflammation, often driven by processed foods, excess visceral fat, or hidden gut imbalances, releases cytokines that actually accelerate muscle breakdown. Think of inflammation like rust eating away at metal. Over time, it erodes your muscle from the inside. A study published in the Journals of Gerontology found that older adults with higher inflammatory markers lost muscle at nearly double the rate compared to those with lower inflammation. Addressing inflammation through an anti-inflammatory diet rich in omega fats, vegetables, spices like turmeric, and adequate hydration directly protects muscle. The fourth disruptor is sedentary behavior. You might exercise 3 times a week, but if you spend the other hours sitting, your muscles are still being starved of stimulation. A concept known as non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, explains how everyday movement, walking, standing, fidgeting, climbing stairs, keeps your muscles switched on. In fact, research shows that breaking up sitting time with just a few minutes of walking every hour can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity in your muscle cells. The fifth disruptor is micronutrient deficiencies. Muscle is not built by protein alone. It requires coactors such as magnesium, vitamin D, zinc, and B vitamins to power the enzymes that carry out protein synthesis. Deficiencies in any of these can stall growth. For example, vitamin D deficiency, which is incredibly common, is strongly associated with reduced muscle strength and increased risk of falls in older adults. Correcting these deficiencies can unlock the full potential of your nutrition. Here is the takeaway: if you are eating protein and exercising but not seeing results, it may not be a problem of what you are doing, but of what is blocking the process. Poor sleep, liver dysfunction, inflammation, inactivity, and nutrient deficiencies are like brakes on a car. You can press the gas all you want with protein and training, but unless you release the brakes, you will not move forward. The good news is each of these disruptors is fixable with simple natural strategies. Prioritize 2 hours of restorative sleep. Support your liver by cutting out added sugars and alcohol. Eat an anti-inflammatory diet rich in whole foods. Move frequently throughout your day, not just in the gym. And make sure you are getting enough key micronutrients, ideally from food first, and supplements when needed. In the next and final section, we will bring all of this together. You will see how the science of protein, leucine, exercise, and lifestyle fit into one simple protocol you can apply starting today to fight sarcopenia, rebuild your metabolism, and extend your health span. We have covered a great deal of ground together, and it is time to bring all of these insights into one clear conclusion. The message is simple but powerful. Your muscles are more than tissue. They are a central driver of health, longevity, and vitality. Protecting them is not optional. It is one of the most powerful things you can do to stay young, strong, and metabolically resilient. Let us recap. Number 1, we learned that muscle is not just about strength. It is the body's largest metabolic organ, influencing weight control, insulin sensitivity, hormone balance, and aging. Losing muscle is like losing your body's internal furnace. Your metabolism slows, fat builds up, and aging accelerates. Number 2, we explored how sarcopenia develops. Beginning in your S, you can lose 2% of your muscle every decade if you do nothing. By your S, this can result in severe weakness, frailty, and loss of independence. At the cellular level, anabolic resistance makes it harder to turn protein into muscle, which explains why simply eating more food does not always solve the problem. Number 3, we revealed an overlooked food that rivals sardines for muscle building, the humble egg. Eggs provide highly bioavailable protein, rich in leucine, and deliver the precise amino acid profile needed for muscle repair. Unlike many protein sources, eggs are efficient, easy to digest, and affordable. Number 4, we emphasize the critical role of amino acids, especially leucine, in activating the Mr. pathway, the molecular switch that tells your body to build new muscle proteins. Getting the right dose of leucine, around 3 grams per meal, is essential to trigger muscle protein synthesis. Number 5, we discovered the importance of timing and synergy. Protein on its own has power. Exercise on its own has power, but together they multiply each other's effects. Eating leucine-rich protein within a window after resistance. Exercise can dramatically enhance muscle growth and overcome anabolic resistance. Number 6, finally, we expose the hidden disruptors of muscle health: poor sleep, liver overload, chronic inflammation, sedentary behavior, and micronutrient deficiencies. Each of these quietly undermines your progress, even if you are eating well and exercising. Removing them is like releasing the brakes on your car, allowing your nutrition and training to deliver their full benefit. Here is the action challenge I want to leave you with. Over the next 7 days, apply the simple protocol. Step 1. Prioritize high-quality protein at every meal, aiming for at least 3 grams of leucine, which is roughly the amount found in 2 to 3 eggs or a palm-sized portion of lean meat or fish. Step 2. Perform resistance exercise 2 to 3 times during the week. Focus on large muscle groups, legs, back, and chest, because they are the engines of your metabolism. Step 3. Pair your workouts with protein. Aim to eat a leucine-rich meal within a couple of hours after training. Step 4. Eliminate one hidden disruptor. Choose one area, improve your sleep, cut back on added sugars, move more throughout the day, or add anti-inflammatory foods to your diet. Even one change can unlock progress. Step 5. Track how you feel. Within a week or 2, you may notice more energy, but